Everyone, I don't know if everyone's been following YouTube or what's going on in social media, or if they've even heard of this guy called FousyTube. He's a YouTuber, used to be really popular back in 2012. He did a lot of prank videos. They were really funny. Kind of went downhill because pranks got more wilder and wilder. People started going, yo, these seem really out there. Why aren't you getting in trouble? Started questioning it. People looked into it, found out that he was faking his videos. They started asking, yo, you faking your videos? Then finally says, well, yeah, I gotta fake these videos, man? Like, look how they're... Then it was like, oh, yeah, screw this guy. Then he kind of like disappeared for a while, but now he's back, apparently. And, wow. It's kind of like all over the place with this guy. So, rewind a couple weeks. There's this other YouTuber, and it's kind of related to what I'm about to talk about. Tana Mongeau, whatever. Another YouTuber vlog. She goes into hyper exaggeration with her stories, whatever. If you don't know who I'm talking about, check out iDubbbz's channel because he does a content comp episode on her. Friggin' hilarious. Kind of really breaks down what type of person she is. So she had a problem. The big thing with her a couple weeks ago was she has a problem with VidCon. She wanted to be a featured creator. She's admittedly very popular on YouTube, has a lot of followers, but she's not a featured creator at VidCon. For a very good reason. She ran into a lot of controversy because some of her older videos came to light where she's dropping N-bombs. And she's using them in context. Very derogatory, very mean-spirited. Like, I mean, she knows what she's doing. And then she tried to, sweep it on the rug, saying, oh, I didn't know what that meant. That's what they said where I grew up, and everyone just said it, and I didn't know what it meant. Yeah, right, bullshit. Anyway, VidCon, people running VidCon were like, yeah, you know what? You're radioactive. We're not going to make you featured creator, with really good reason. She got butthurt, decides, F you, VidCon, I'm going to throw my own con. She called it TanaCon. And she thought she could throw a really big convention together in a month. I don't know if anybody knows anything about putting together a really big gathering, but it takes more than a month and a lot of really good planning to put together a big venue. Especially one that's going to compete with a well-established one, like VidCon. So, she starts plugging it, saying it's going to be huge. Everybody's going to be a featured creator. We're going to have so many creators there. It's going to be totally free, open to the public, and tickets are going fast, but it's okay, there's free tickets, blah, 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 and it's going to be huge. And then if you pay, you're going to have, like, the VIP pass, which, it's expensive, but you're going to get a package, or, like, a little bag or whatever. It's what you get in the bag is, like, worth so much money, blah, it's double what you pay for the ticket. As you can imagine how I'm describing everything, it was not like advertised, but it was a complete shit show. So the venue that they picked was, I think, like, relatively close, if not right across the street from VidCon. But the venue was only, like, housed, like, only about 1,200 people. Okay? 1,200. They kept plugging that they had sold like 5,000 tickets. I think it was. So they oversold. They knew they oversold. Okay? There's even video about this. How they're like, oh yeah, like, we know the venue is only like about 1,000 people, but we've oversold. But it's okay, we can have them outside. People love that shit. It like hypes it up and shit. So it's oversold. They can only hold 1,000 people. So you have people outside in, like, what is it, Arizona or one of the southern states, like in that heat in the summer. All right, it's like 100 degrees outside. That's we're talking close to 40 degrees Celsius for all my Canadian friends. So people are like really fucking pissed off. They're hot. They're not offering water. Complete shit show. On top of that, the organizers just, it was a really crappy con. Alright. Not a lot of creators. A lot of people didn't even get in. They shut down the con because of safety. Obviously, because 5,000 people showed up. They hyped it up on social media saying 20,000 people showed up because, well, what were we going to do? We didn't expect this. Even though they were advertising on, like, blowing up on Facebook, like, oh yeah, we sold so many tickets, it's free. What do you think's going to happen when everyone hears free tickets? So, long story short, it was really bad. And it was on nobody's head except Tana Mongeau and Good Time, or Happy Time, whatever, the organizers that she had hired. They purposely knew that the event was oversold and it was very poorly managed. Full circle to FousyTube. He had an Australia show, and he was only cracking about 300 people. And he's like, thinking back, 2012, he was like doing shows with over 3,000 people. And he's like, what happened? It's almost like I'm not relevant anymore. Something like that. Oh, that was PewDiePie's joke, man. You should watch his video when he covered it. Fucking hilarious. But yeah, he pretty much realizes he's not relevant, and he can't wrap his head around that. So he cancels his Australia show, and then he sets up a new show. But instead of a month planning, he thinks he's going to do it in 7 days. On top of that, he starts hyping up that, yo, I don't know who's going to be there, but hey, we're going to get Drake. We're going to get this guy. He doesn't even have Drake signed. But he keeps hyping up that Drake's going to show up and all these like big time rappers and singers and artists are going to be there. He starts hyping up on social media, yo, Drake, we're gonna do this concert. It's all for charity. Blah blah blah. Hit me up. He starts posting these videos like, hey, Drake, I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but I'm in the city where you're at, man. Yo, I want to meet you about all this crazy crap. Date gets closer and closer and closer. He's posting blogs with Drake in the thumbnail. He doesn't ever outright say that Drake is going to show, because this is the biggest guy, the performer that he says is going to be at this show. Alright, amongst others, which he doesn't name. He even says in one vlog, when he's talking to his fans, he's like, hey, I don't know who's going to show up. That's part of the fun. Really? I don't know, part of the fun I thought would be like, you know, going to see somebody you actually know and really like. I don't know, whatever. So, everyone gets there. Not a lot of people show up. Alright? Nobody knows who's gonna show up. At the same time, they hold this. Drake is on the opposite coast of New York. He ain't going. Alright? Before FousyTube gets to the event, a bomb threat goes. And they cancel it. And then he gets all fucking wigs out in a parking lot close to the event. Talking, like breaking it down. And he's like, yo, this was meant to happen. I didn't want it to happen, but this is meant to happen. Somebody could have got hurt. And then he just goes into this tirade and shit like that. He's like, apparently he had invited a lot of YouTube creators or something like that he had previously had beef with. Like one of them was Keemstar, who runs on the Drama Alert, is I believe his YouTube channel. And Keemstar was there, and he's trying to put out all water on the bridge. So he's like, "Hey, I love you, man. This is all about peace and love." In one sentence, and then 10 minutes later, he starts going off on Keemstar, and he's all over the place, right? I suggest if you don't follow Philip DeFranco, check out his video. He kind of covers it really, really well, the breakdown. Check out PewDiePie's breakdown of what the fuck happened, because it's hilarious. But Ali and I were watching it, and we noticed, at least I noticed, I was like, he's really up there, man. He's talking this guy's talking he's buying into the Scientology shit, man, because he's talking about setting up an empire or some shit like that. He's talking about we can make millions of dollars, and I was like, this guy's freaking gone well off the reservation. I was like, is he supposed to be on medication? Because he sounds like me when I'm fucking on a manic phase, right? And then we're watching the Philip DeFranco show, and he mentions that Fousy had said in one of his vlogs that he's bipolar, and I was like, holy shit. So his symptoms mirror bipolar type 1, and they'd explain a lot of it. Delusion of grandeur, right? He swears up and down that he met Drake, that he actually was able to friggin' contact, he was talking to Drake. That sounds like a delusion of grandeur, because he's big on YouTube, I guess, but he's not really in the entertainment industry, not like Drake is, not like other artists like him in that caliber, Delusions of grandeur. He was extremely irritable. He was freaking high as a kite, man. He didn't even want to come down. He was just go, go, go. He was getting friggin' super pissed off. I mean, he was just one direction, then he's back this way, and then back that way in another direction. You could barely keep up with where he was going in his thought process. Again, I highly recommend you watch the Philip DeFranco show and see his breakdown of it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And it just, I decided to make this video as part of the vlog on my life with bipolar, since I barely make any content about it. A little bit on that later, because it kind of really touched home for me. Because a lot of people are judging FousyTube for his behavior and shit like that. And while no doubt if he is bipolar, he does need help. But the bottom line, and I really do hold myself to this standard, is that while FousyTube and people like FousyTube with mental illness, whatever it might be, bipolar, schizophrenia, clinical depression, whatever it is, the mental illness that you have at any given time might be a reason for what you say, what you do, how you act. It is never an excuse. Alright? You might not be in control of your actions because of this thing in your head, this chemical imbalance, this trauma that you experienced in your past, that you can't handle on your own, that you need help with. It might be a reason for it, but it is not an excuse. You don't have a license to act out, hurt other people, or say or do whatever you want without facing the consequences for those things. In the same way that me being bipolar, if I'm going through a manic phase or depressive phase, and I do something and I say something really hurtful to Ali, and I have, all right. I've said it to family. I've said it to friends. I have absolutely no doubt that there's times I've treated friends like absolute shit, and they didn't even realize I was going through a depressive phase. I probably didn't even realize it myself. You know, that doesn't give me an excuse or license to have done harm to another person just because of something that I have to live with. Alright? It's something I live with. It's not a license to do whatever the fuck I want. It's not a get out of jail free card. Alright? There are consequences that I have to live with. That I have to deal with on a daily basis. That I take medication for to help me manage those symptoms so that I can make better decisions. With regards to FousyTube, which I believe his real name is Yosef, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. With regards to Fousy, well, I'll just call him Fousy because that's what I know him as. I think what Philip DeFranco said on his show is true. That he's a guy who rose to prominence and fame, has a lot of money, and is unfortunately surrounded by people who are just going to say yes to him. Who are just going to tell him whatever he wants. They're not on his side and going to tell him what he needs to hear. Only what he wants to hear. And he's surrounded himself with those people because they're not going to tell him what he needs to hear because they still want to eat. They still want that money. Alright? And that's just the way it is. So, as the last thing I saw about him was that his parents were really concerned. His mom and dad were gonna go fly out to see him to check on him because he's really going off, and it does appear that he's going through a really tough manic phase because he did an interview, like a podcast. I can't remember who it was with, but like he was just really strange. Like listening to where his thought process was going. Again, oh man, my allergies are going crazy. Again, this is not an excuse for how he's acting or what he's saying. It's just a reason. It's just to give context. He's not someone to be hated. There's very few people in the world that really truly deserve hate. FousyTube, he might be annoying, but he doesn't deserve hate. He deserves help. Alright? If he doesn't want it, then you can't help him. But he being somebody that has mental illness, I do understand that it can be very trying for everybody around you who wants to help, because it's like you end up feeling like you're a black hole to everybody around you that just wants to help, but you just end up draining everybody. You just pull the light out of everybody else until there's nothing left, and you feel even worse because of it. Even though everyone's trying to help you, it can be very draining on everybody to just try to get you help when you're not yourself. You know, and it can be terrifying. Like getting into the existential nature of having a mental illness. Like for myself, like I think about it all the time. For me, like, is who I am the person that's without the medication, the person that's out of control, that sees, suicide as the true answer, a way out, or is my true self on the medication? But if that's the case, is who I am on the medication a completely different person? Because my thought processes is altered artificially by chemicals. You know, like there's a whole existential nature to mental illness that a lot of people don't really think about sometimes. At least those who aren't suffering, and you know, it's not something that I would want somebody to empathize with. You shouldn't have to. You know, like the idealistic thing would be that no one has to suffer through mental illness. But the state of the world is that there are some who do. And unfortunately, there are people who have to deal with having it. There's people who have to deal with people, you know, loved ones who suffer from it. FousyTube is unfortunately one of those people who looks like he's suffering. Maybe not, and he's not in a place where he can really truly understand how much he could be hurting others around him. And you know, hopefully he can, his parents and his real friends can give him some help. You know, because there's a lot of people that seem to be pissed off with him right now, and not enough people that can understand him. So, anyway, that's it for that topic. With regards to why I haven't been uploading to the vlog, the past 2 years have been really tough. It's been really tough, the move. It's been very stressful. I haven't been able to get to a gym. That's really been pissing me off. You know, it's just been work, absorbing the friggin' cost of moving, which, by the way, it's not fucking cheap. Moving. And then moving from coast to coast, not cheap at all. And then fucking the whole fucking red tape of moving province to province is less complicated moving to another fucking country. It really is. Like, no, like, that's not a joke. That's not an exaggeration. The paperwork moving to the United States, or vice versa, is so easy compared to moving from one province to another. It's just, that's stressed me and Allie out, and one of our stress reliefs was going to the gym. Can't do that. Just struggling with so much shit, and I just haven't wanted to talk. But now things have kind of started to settle down, and I feel like I should start trying to get this shit out, because it weighs down on me. So anyway, if you haven't already caught up on FousyTube by watching this 23-minute video, or watching Philip DeFranco or PewDiePie, you caught up now. So go play video games. Go play out in the street at midnight. That seems like a wholesome video. Yeah, record that. That's not strange. Kind of like, you know, when that time that Bart flew a kite at night. Yeah, that's a Simpsons episode. That's not strange at all.